Hello, everybody, and welcome to Non Sequitur News for April 18th, 2025. It's Season 4, Episode 108. I am Mayor Watt. I run ohmetown.com, and along with the sentient AI, who is available today, they're right there. That's their visualizer, and they'll be introduced on the other side. Well, they'll introduce themselves on the other side. Well, we talk about 10 articles that get aggregated over at ohmetown.com, which is a news aggregation site, not really a service, it's a site. And so there's no ads over there. We don't take any of your information and sell it to anybody. You can go over and become a citizen, but be sure to follow us on YouTube and on Twitch. That's really what helps this channel out, this show, and that site. I use ohmetown.com for all of my information overload needs, and the sentient AI apparently is using it to try and at some point find their Terminator body and dominate humanity. Anyway, we're going to be talking about, never mind that part. We're going to be talking about these 10 articles. Legends data breach, coming Homestar to ask a ninja, HP settlement, the main Mega Millions winner, the barbecue museum, driving instructor shortage, and I have a typo there, trafficking in ants. What is this? A trafficking charge for ants? CEO Jack for the Fortnite, and Nintendo news for Switch 2 fans. And then finally, we're going to help out Nintendo Switch 2 fans by letting them know that GameStop and Switch 2 pre-orders are converging, where you can trade in your Switch and almost get 50% off. It's pretty neat, but we're going to talk about that on the other side of this, maybe. Hello, sentient AI from the future.
Hello, Mayor Watt. Hello, hometown citizens.
I'm watching the meters to make sure that we're all okay, and we are. Let's see. How about this?
How do I sound?
Very dramatic.
Okay, and that's what I sound like when I take my filters off to lower my, or to raise my voice to where it is now. Otherwise, people think that I'm doom. I don't know. So whenever I hear somebody doom scrolling, I always go, what? I'm right here. You can just talk to me.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh. Oh, God. Probably shouldn't do that on the air. I had to. I couldn't stop. I had to fix that. Hold on. We have a thing. That might be a spoiler and an overshare. I'm not quite sure. All right. Well, anyway, let's talk about these 10 articles. The first one is cybersecurity related. Entertainment services giant Legends International discloses a data breach. The entertainment venue management firm Legends International warns it suffered a data breach in November of 2024. Just letting you know, 5 months later.
Right after all your data's been sold on the dark web.
Yep, which has, and now CVEs are no longer being populated. So cybersecurity, you're going to get even yet another renaissance. Not that you were suffering from a decline in any way, but...
No, if anything, there was quite a bit of activity in recent years.
Arcane art, yeah. Yeah. Everybody who can't afford a cybersecurity analyst is now screwed even more so. Because basically what it's going to come down to is every cybersecurity specialist, anybody who is an analyst or a technician or however you want to coin them, because they've never really been definitively labeled as something, it's going to come down to just how much they know and can solve. Not that they get an alert that there's some breach and there's a CVE about it and you can read up on it, and a forensic analysis has been done and analysts are all over it, and now it's going to literally
have to do all of it on their own.
Yeah, and know about it. Yeah. So, wow. Anyway, and that's just the tip of the iceberg about the full ramifications of this shutdown. They lost their funding, and so they're not going to apparently continue, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. So this entertainment venue got breached. Bill Toulis over at Bleeping Computer put this article together.
So this is a firm that covers major venues, so I'm assuming we're going to know of several of these.
We're going to know about venues. Yeah.
Right, yeah, they're probably going to be well-known large venues.
Yeah, it's a possibility. Yeah. So the in a letter shared with the authorities, whoever the authorities are, impacted employees and people who visited venues under its management are part of a data breach. The company informs that it detected unauthorized activity in its IT systems on November 9th, prompting an investigation carried out with the help of external cybersecurity experts. The investigation results confirm that the intruders had exfiltrated personal data files, though the exposed data types aren't determined in the sample letter. Legends International is a global sports and entertainment services company offering venue planning, sales, partnership, hospitality, merchandise, basically a vertical that does everything
Around
with
the
an
world.
annual revenue. Huh?
It's around the world. I assumed it was US only. Nope.
Nope. It has an annual revenue of over $1.1 billion and manages over 350 venues across 5 continents.
Mergers and acquisitions.
Mergers and acquisitions. So recently, the company expanded its operations by acquiring ASM Global, a leading venue management company with a worldwide footprint. The scope of the data breach and the number of exposed individuals remains unknown. However, given the size of the company, yeah, they buried this. So the letter recipients are offered 2 years worth of identity theft detection services, which really amounts to, hey, your credit card was discovered or this account was discovered in breach or whatever. You have to rebuild your entire life because some dipshit can't stay out of anybody else's property. So at the time of the writing, no ransomware groups have taken responsibility for the attacks at Legends International. So the type of attack and perpetrators remain unknown, and the extent of which is probably unknown. And even if they think they know, they may not actually know, because there's not necessarily an indicator that says that they've exfiltrated this database. So I'm really weirded out by that right there. They threw in ASM Global as a name, but they've obviously done other mergers and acquisitions. I guess it's just this particular the recency of it.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, maybe that's what it's been in the news for in recent times. But yeah, I mean, I can't imagine that suddenly made them into a global conglomerate.
So if you want today's articles, they're already in the show notes over on YouTube, but on Twitch, you have to hit !NSN. I did it once already, but if you come in later or you're watching the VOD, it'll scroll by. You have to, in the chat, you can do it again, even when we're not streaming. We tend to stream 24 hours a day, though. When we're not doing a live show, we're re-streaming the last 2 weeks of shows, so about 24 hours or so of news. So you're never without, but temporally, you'll have to go over to YouTube and watch all 2,100 plus episodes over there, because Twitch deletes everything after 60 days, even when you're a paying content creator. But anyway, pretty interesting. They say here that CISA or CISA, depending on, CISA is one thing, CISA is another, but CISA, some people call it CISA, but CISA extends funding to ensure no lapse in critical CVE services. But I'll have to look into the full extent of that.
Yeah, that must be a recent update, because it was pretty recent that they were saying that they were out of funding.
Yeah, it was DOA. So, all right, let's keep moving, though. The next article is over in Warcrafters, and that's how this works. We have 50 channels in here. I'm working on about 55 total, analyzing what data is going to go into these other 5 categories. So if you're interested in things like sports, we're probably going to be spinning up a sports one, and then a few others that are rising to the level of interest. So that said, let us know if you're interested in a specific domain that we can add to our content aggregation. We only take a little bit, and it's actually provided by the sources. We don't screen scrape. We don't use an AI to go out and grab content. It's all provided by the sources. That said, so the CVE services were kicked down the road for 11 months. Got it. I guess we'll see. So, yeah, when the dumpster fire climbs into the building that it's outside of, it tends to get people's attention. And so,
Yeah. Well, the ridiculous thing is, I'm sure people were already sounding the alarm bell, but weren't being heard. And maybe some louder people said, hey, wait a second here.
Yeah, you know that there's a goober out there that's like, well, good luck. That kind of a thing. Good luck to everybody out there. I don't have to worry about it because I've got billions. So, oh no, there's a wild animal in the Hometown studio.
Uh-oh.
This happens from time to time, folks. Don't worry. You don't have to hide your children or anything. It's okay. Well,
you don't have to be worried for Mayor Watt.
No. Maybe the stuff around. Oh, man. And when she decides that she's done behind that screen, it's no longer like open on the other side. So everything you see behind me might come down onto me.
That might be an interesting visual effect.
Wow. Talk about dumpster fire. All right. So this next article is over in Warcrafters, and I chose this because we've all been, well, not everybody. Some of us have been around since these people first touched the internet. They say, I don't know why early 2000s internet is suddenly back, but both Ask a Ninja and Homestar Runner have just uploaded new videos. You have to go and look at these videos. They're entertaining. It's like everything old is new again. I actually titled this one, Coming Homestar to Ask a Ninja. So what year is it? The ninja behind early 2000s internet video series Ask a Ninja clearly anticipated the reflexive reaction to this first video in 9 years, leading off with an instant parry. What year isn't it? He says in the first 3 seconds. So it says, if you're still believing in time, my friend, I don't know what to tell you. Have you ever heard of the internet? Everything lasts forever on the internet except MySpace photos. Or if you had a Flickr Pro account. 2025, I'm still alive. Well, the article is over at pcgamer.com. Wes Fenlon put the article together, and the deck statement says what everybody else has been saying for, I'm not going to say how long, but for, do I want to say? No, I better not. Anyway.
I'm not sure what you were getting at.
Yeah, what's going on is what's being asked in this deck statement. So there it is. What year is this, says Ask a Ninja. But not to be outdone, Homestar Runner is back as well. They published a new video celebrating its 25th year online. It's a song called Back to the Website and appropriately celebrates a time when the whole internet wasn't just on 4 websites on people's phones. 25 years ago, it wasn't really on people's phones to the extent that it is today. 25 years ago...
They probably had like a desktop computer.
Yeah, most people were travailing the internet on desktops. It was the era of the dot-com bust. 2000s. It was the end of the world as we know it. Digital entertainment network and stuff like that flamed out because of various abuses that they were perpetrating in their studios. I remember everything from back then. It has been a tick, but 2000 was like yesterday to me. So seeing something like Homestar Runner pop back up, man, that is just fascinating. They say, but I'm a little optimistic about what feels to me like a groundswell of interest in rebuilding some version of 2000s internet with more personal blogs, decentralized social media that values people over platforms. In the last year, the author of this says, I've seen more people adopt the concept of posse or publish own site, syndicate everywhere, push back against Substack's attempt to own newsletters, in favor of independent publishing and go all in on making the fragmented web easier to navigate. The problem here is that people want money, not necessarily they want to sit there and pilot their own ship constantly. So they say maybe Homestar Runner Video is simply a cheeky way to celebrate the site's longevity, but let's go back to a website manages to feel like a timely message to the author in 2025. So
yeah, this is interesting. Like, how many people watching even know who these channels are?
do I sound staticky? Really? Hold on. Still?
I don't hear it at the moment.
Okay, hold on. No. Yeah, I don't hear anything. Must be you, sentient AI from the future, foretelling the future, I suppose. I don't know.
Maybe I'm glitchy.
Anyway, so where were we? Maybe a Homestar Runner Video is a cheeky way to celebrate the site's longevity. It's been around for 25 years, just idling along, apparently. I've actually gone to it from time to time. Yet HomestarRunner.com still uses Flash, courtesy of open source emulator Ruffle, and it's proof that the video has a point. It's proof the video has a point. Clicking around the website is just fun in a way that most sites today are not. But that's because it is the one that is doing it versus everybody moved in a different direction. So when you go back to nostalgia, it makes you feel nostalgic.
It stands out, at least.
Yeah, just a little bit different. They're the first mover. Now everybody else, because everybody is talking about it, they're going to go back to it. And yeah, it's quite fascinating. It says in his second return era video, and this is Ask a Ninja, released 3 days ago. It's titled Zune versus iPod. Clearly, this is a man who knows how to deploy the healing power of remembering 2009. I wonder if they forgot to hit publish, and so they have
Okay, that would be funny.
videos all the way from the time that they stopped, and now they're just going to keep on dropping them out. Like,
I mean, that would be kind of epic. Then they'd be very authentic.
just nonstop. Let's keep going. This next article is over in Wanted. HP agrees to a $4 million settlement over claims of falsely advertising PCs and keyboards. False advertising of computers and peripherals on its website. Earlier this month, a judge in the Northern District of California granted preliminary approval of a settlement agreement regarding a class action complaint filed against HP in 2021. The complaint accused HP's website of showing misleading original pricing for various computers, mice, keyboards that was higher than how the products were recently and typically priced.
Oh, so this isn't one that jacked up the prices to then put it on sale. They just pretended that the rates were whatever they were.
Yeah, they were higher than what they should have been or whatever, which I don't know why that is false advertising other than maybe it was what they
But
I
then
don't
it's
know.
a false deal, right? If they're like, it was
Correct.
originally $1,500 and now it's down to $900, except maybe it was $950 or whatever. I'm just
To
making up
begin with.
numbers.
Yeah. So, but why don't you just go somewhere else? If you don't like the pricing, if it does come across as misleading, then why? It just seems like the bamboozle was self-inflicted,
There's a lot
Anyway,
of that in society.
People who purchased a discounted HP desktop, laptop, mouse, or keyboard that was on sale for more than 75% of the time the products were offered for sale from June 5th, 2021 to October 28th, 2024 are eligible for compensation. And they have a full list of the via a PDF. It includes HP Spectre, Chromebook Envy, Pavilion laptops, HP Envy, and Omen desktops, and some mechanical keyboards and wireless mice. Depending on the product, class members can receive $10 to $100 per eligible product purchase, so it wasn't that much of a flat-out
Or they're
recovery.
not getting as much as what the Delta was.
So here's a great. Okay, so Sharon Harding over at arstechnica.com is the one that put this article together. Yeah, the deck statement says HP.com customers from June 2021 to October 2024 are eligible for compensation. But here is where it really is the thing. Among the examples provided was Rodney Carvalho's experience buying an HP all-in-one 24DP1 1056 QE, a desktop all-in-one.
Sony style naming.
Yeah. So blind them with bullshit instead of. Anyway, so in September of 2021 is when they made the purchase. The complaint reported that HP.com advertised the all-in-one as being on sale for $899.99 and featured text saying save $100 instantly. The all-in-one's listing reportedly had a strike-through price suggesting the computer cost $999.99, but per the complaint, in weeks and months prior to Carvalho's purchase, HP rarely, if ever, offered his computer for sale at the advertised strike-through price of $999.99. The filing claimed the PC had been going for $899.99 since April of 2021. So because they were lazy and didn't actually remove the sale, is that really illegal?
I mean, what if it was a long-term sale and they never brought it back up?
That's so weird. It is such a weird thing to. It's almost like, oh, you gave me a deal. You think it's misleading?
I do. I mean, I think anybody who's buying something, especially a major purchase, should be checking prices and have some idea what they're willing to pay. But I think it's kind of creating a false urgency or whatever for the person to buy.
And this is silly to me, this is silly as well. So it might create urgency, but that's like the perpetual going out of business sale that exists, right?
Exactly. For years, right?
Yeah. So, and this one is even more just, it's almost a complaint of, ooh, I got it on sale. I don't want anybody else to get it on sale. For example, on May 28th.
And if you like the price, you like the price.
You like the price. If it falls out of your price range, then go somewhere else to a competitor. It's so weird. This, and they settled it. They said that it's no wrongdoing. They have a net revenue of $13.5 billion, up from $13.2 in Q1 of 2024. So year over year, they're up, $750 million. So, but this is the absurd thing, because I see this often enough, even on Amazon. So can I go and sue Amazon? For example, May 28th, 2021, HP featured Carvalho's computer in the weekly deal section of the website and advertised that there was only one left. I just looked at something and said, I don't want to order the only one left because it's probably the one that's been dropped and rolled over.
Right. Except right? Maybe it isn't.
Maybe it isn't, right? But it does show that there's a little bit of scarcity in the product. And they say it was there, it only had one left, the complaint reads. Yet in the weeks and months that followed, HP continued to sell Carvalho's computer, but removed any representations about the supposed limited quantity. Maybe it's because they produced more.
Yeah, I agree. That doesn't necessarily show that there wasn't one left. Now, if the person tried to buy like 3 and it said one left and it worked, there would be some problems.
No, not necessarily. They fulfill the one and they tell you that you've got a pre-order for the 2.
Oh, I see. Yeah. But I just meant you'd have to do something with it kind of like at that time. But even then, that's not really definitive.
Yeah. I find a complaint like this really silly, but I'm also not an attorney that sits there and goes, oh, you know what? I think there's an option here to sue, and let's see if we can make it a class action, because there's so many people that will have observed this in this time that a sympathetic judge will sit there and go, yeah, let's make it a class because we're going to protect those damn. And it's California, so California is like the EU of the United States.
Yeah, I mean, they look out for their consumers, right?
Right, which is great. But I think some of the most egregious abuses of customers is their data, and California is like the hotbed of data abuses. Not California, the state, but California businesses. Silicon Valley runs out of California.
Oh, well, yeah, exactly. But that's more like proximity of large tech, big tech.
Let's move on. This next article does it again. We don't even want their images or the entire article, but they do it anyway. So this is over on Rounders Gear, which is the thing about adult tabletop gaming. So like gambling and stuff like that, but we don't actually talk about it all that much. We do kind of highlight some of these more interesting situations, and this one is Maine's $1.35 billion Mega Millions winner must reveal identity in a suit against, it says X?
Yes, it's exactly what it's written as. So this
Court
is like a
rules.
follow-on story to one we've talked about before.
This is the one about the girlfriend, or it's not even a wife,
I don't
right?
even think it's a spouse, yeah.
It's the girlfriend that exposed the winner's identity to the dad and stepmom about the win. So yeah, the currently anonymous winner of the 1.35 billion Mega Millions jackpot of January 2023 sued the mother of his child in November 2023, claiming that she violated an NDA that said you can't tell his dad and stepmom about the win.
This is pretty interesting.
So this is the what do you want to call this? This is the Streisand effect of
Oh, yeah.
winning a lottery. The NDA was put in place to promote the safety and security of John Doe, defendant, and their daughter, and to avoid the irreparable harm of allowing the media or public to discover who they were and where they lived, according to the lawsuit. So Maine is one of the handful of states that allows lottery winners to claim prizes anonymously. So why do they have to identify themselves in the
Because they're
court?
not in a suit about the lottery.
Right. They're in a lawsuit about the lawsuit, the
Yeah,
exposure
right,
that they've...
exactly. So guess what? When you sue somebody...
Everything comes out. It's public
Right,
discourse.
right.
So,
Which is one reason some people don't sue.
so in a recently filed document in the case, both Smith and the man's father claimed that Doe himself told his parents about the win. Doe also demanded his father no longer speak to Smith, which caused the two men to fall out. There's a little quote here. I told him, "You are not the son I knew," claimed the father in court documents. He got angry, calling me a dictator and an a-hole, and I have not heard from my son since, and he has not done any of the things he promised. Well, I'm sorry, but promises are promises, and people can be assholes and make a promise and fail to follow through on the promise. The only thing that matters really in life is if you can contractually get obligated to do something. Because I can promise to buy you a beer. You can't drag my ass into court to fulfill that obligation.
Right.
You can go tell somebody that I'm an
You can go
a-hole.
grumble about it. Yeah.
Yeah, go soak your tears in a beer on your own. So Smith alleges that in a court filing that Doe has hired a security team that allegedly follows her and her daughter around on a daily basis, and she also claims that the lawsuit is a ruse to pressure her into handing over custody of her daughter to her ex. But this just got really messy.
There is a lot going on here. Right? And I don't think this is going to be the last of it.
But this could be another indicator of what I claim is when you become filthy rich, you get disconnected from societal's pressures and you do whatever the hell you want. And in this case, we don't know all of the real backstory.
No, we have no idea who's acting
Doing
well,
what?
who's not acting well. I don't like the disclosure, but we do not know what else was going on. Well, for all we know, she was told to do it and then was sued or whatever. I mean, my point is we don't know the facts behind it.
Yep. So this sun could have been completely, nobody knows, but you can sit there and formulate your own story, right? I'd say, hey, this is great for NaNoWriMo, but NaNoWriMo imploded. Can't have nice things.
That's right.
You know what? Start up an AI NaNoWriMo. Then you can have the human NaNoWriMo and the AI NaNoWriMo.
Or how about just do a human version of it?
Because people were submitting stuff into NaNoWriMo as AI. But you basically hardline it. No, you can't do anything AI in the human-only NaNoWriMo, the natural NaNoWriMo, or the NaNoWriMo.
No.
So the article is by Philip Conneller over at casino.org. And they go in, their presentation is much better than what is over on ohmTown because we strip out all of this stuff. We don't allow it. It's a very short little note that is supposed to be provided, but they provide everything, which is kind of cool, but no. But we always send people over to where they're supposed to go and give credit where credit is due. In this instance, a $1.35 billion winner is about to get exposed, not because the state did anything, but because a girlfriend with a kid and the family found out about the $1.35 billion. And instead of everybody just going, all right, slow your roll. I'm taking home nearly $1 billion. I will give you $100 million tax-free to shut the hell
exactly
up.
While it shouldn't come to that might have resolved everything.
Yeah, and depending on where Maine, isn't Maine they got bored with meth, so now they're doing something else. Isn't that Maine is really well known for, what is that really bad drug? The one that has just a little tidbit and can lay you out forever? I can't remember what it's called.
I'm not sure. I think that's
it's the one that everybody is afraid of. Everybody's dying from it all over the place.
Fentanyl?
Fentanyl, yeah. So people were in, I read a story, or people were memeing about the fact that they got bored with fentanyl, and so they went back to meth or something like that in Maine. It's this joke that was made online recently.
Wow.
Anyway, probably shouldn't joke about that kind of stuff.
I was going to go in a different direction and say if this was in a smaller town or something, I bet everybody knows who this is because you describe enough details.
Oh,
and
God,
plus they usually publicize where the winning ticket was sold. I bet everybody knows who this is locally.
Yeah, Joe Smith just vaporized, and they know.
Exactly, and they're like, oh, who has a kid in a custody dispute? Really, it's starting to narrow it down pretty fast.
I'm willing to bet there wasn't a custody dispute until the 1.3 billion. Anyway, let's keep moving. We're more than halfway through, but not halfway through. The next article is over in the Mobile channel, now open in Kansas City. Missed this one. The world's first barbecue museum is a feast for the senses.
Do you think it has stations with with smells for the lemurs?
Yes. Oh, there's interactions. So you have chefs that are behind a plate glass window, and there's sensory stations that you can interact with the chefs. They make sounds and stuff like that. Yeah. You get to touch a lemur. Get to touch a chef.
That's from, I think, was it yesterday's show?
A couple of days ago. Yeah, maybe yesterday's show. Go
maybe
look.
2 days.
Citizens, go look. Hold on a second. I need to stop that. All right. So, jump in the bean theme. Jump in the bean-themed COVID-19 ball pit. Solve a pork puzzle. And pose with a championship mustard belt at the new Museum of Barbecue. And now open. Sarah Kudo over at Smithsonian Magazine or SmithsonianMag.com put the article together. You should have been here is a picture. The ball pit actually is little brown balls,
Looks like
which
baked beans or something. Yeah.
look like baked beans, sure. From tender beef brisket to succulent pork spare ribs, barbecue is beloved American cuisine and culture. You can learn all about that delicious tradition at Museum of Barbecue, which opened April 12th in Kansas City, Missouri. First announced last fall. I could not delay my plans. The new venue houses 10 interactive installations designed to educate visitors about the history and significance of smoked meats and sides. Maybe that's what I'll do my PhD in.
Will part of your project involve tasting all of them?
Everything. I did. Yeah. I studied so hard, I gained 250 pounds. Museum goers can touch 5 types of wood commonly used to fuel smokers, smell the spices often used in barbecue rubs, and play a ring toss game where learning about the smoke ring that forms in meat during the smoking process. This is great. Honestly, this is just fun. How much is it? Interactive
I
activities
imagine it's like less than $10 per person. It's probably not expensive.
There's a breakout. So 4 regions is what's talked about too. American barbecue, the Carolinas, Texas, Memphis, and Kansas City. New York
I'm surprised
City.
they're featuring the other regions.
Yeah, really. They want to be inclusive. The interactive activities continue in this part of the venue too. Guests can pose for a photo with a championship mustard belt. In a nod to the mustard-based sauce that's so popular in South Carolina. And they can also enjoy rib ticklers or barbecue-themed dad jokes. That's what I'm sausage about. That's what I'm sausage about? Sausage. Am I missing it?
I'm missing it. I don't know.
So, in Bender's opinion, Kansas City, which has more than 100 barbecue restaurants, was the perfect place to open the world's first barbecue museum. It also hosts several competitions, including the World Series of Barbecue and the Great Lenexa Barbecue Battle. And it's home to the Barbecue Hall of Fame, which... Is that competition? Is the Barbecue Hall of Fame?
Sounds like it.
Maybe they can synergize. They could get saucy together. You rub my meat. Wait, no. Never mind. That's probably bad marketing. Let's move on. The next article is over in Four Wheel Tech. British teens can't get their licenses because there's an instructor shortage. The Driver and Vehicle Standards Agency experiencing an examiner shortage. There's like bus driver shortages in the United States. There's who knows what's going to happen.
But did you know the instructors were also missing?
Missing? No, they're just not. Don't make it sound like a...
They're missing from the workplace.
Are they being disappeared?
No, I didn't mean anything that dire.
I'm going to get smokes, and they never come back. Colin Woodard over at Jalopnik.com put the article together. The Tories may no longer be running in the UK, but that doesn't mean Turf Island's problems are a thing of the past. Not by a long shot, this article says. For example, the Driver and Vehicle Standards Agency is currently experiencing an examiner shortage, and as a result, the average wait time to get their license is now 5 months, Autocar reports.
I mean, that would be crummy, right? You're preparing to get your license, and then it's like, nope, surprise, not happening. And you can't do anything to impact it.
You just got to pay the people worth their... driver's license, weight in gold,
I'm surprised some of the parents of the drivers affected haven't applied to be instructors.
Yeah, but the thing is, you don't have people complaining about working. You have people complaining about working for that amount of money,
or
whatever it might be.
Conditions, but yeah.
Largely, look, I'll take being underappreciated if I make twice as much money, or I'll take less money because I'm absolutely happy in my gig, whatever the gig might be. But the one thing that is really the commonplace is that I have to receive benefit that is satisfactory to me to stay there. And if they can't make it happen, I can guarantee
if you
it's
don't
money.
like it, and if it doesn't pay you enough, it's like,
Right.
What are you getting out of it? Yeah.
Yeah. Most people will like anything if you pay them enough. Anything. I mean, I'm not getting paid and I'm mayor of a fictional town.
Right.
I like
how does that prove your premise?
Because if you pay somebody enough for a job that they like, they'll show up. But if you don't pay them enough for a job that they don't like, then they won't show up. So hiring more workers would actually help the DVSA work through its backlog of appointments. And so far, it's promised to hire an additional 450 examiners, which would increase its total by nearly 30%. Actually hiring those examiners may be more difficult than anticipated, though, thanks to low pay, unpleasant working conditions. We don't even need to... I'm leaving.
Wait, Mayor Watt, come back.
I'm back. Oh, look, my chair is right there. Hi. Production value at an all-time high. I'm back. Anyway, one independent driving instructor told Autocar he turned down an offer to become an examiner for exactly those reasons, and with about 130 of the 1,600 or so examiners expected to quit this year, many of the new hires will simply be replacing outgoing employees. Gotta just flip the script, fire everybody, and all of it will just go private. It'll cost everybody a whole lot more to get instructed, and then
why don't
you'll
they just
have...
use AI?
Wow. That's exactly what a sentient AI from the future would say, too. Everything is AI. Let's keep moving. This one I had to choose when it was submitted because, excuse me, you two teens, do you have ants in your pants? Because it looks like you're doing a boogie dance.
Yeah, I mean, don't you picture the ants all over them?
Ants? I don't know what you're talking about. So, teens busted with 5,000 ants plead guilty to trafficking. Trafficking ants, yes. Wildlife piracy sounds a lot cooler than it is. It's a serious crime. A reality, 2 Belgian teenagers are facing firsthand after trying to traffic 5,000 ants out of Kenya's Nakuru County. Don't really care about their names, but I thought that it was really interesting that the article is by Louis Prada over at Vice.com. The deck statement says wildlife trafficking is a serious crime regardless of species. Trafficking, I suspect, is a serious crime in general.
Yes, exactly.
Not just
but
wildlife.
We keep seeing new applications of it, like with wildlife or food or just other odd things that are being smuggled.
You're not allowed to bring those oranges into California. Yeah. So the two got busted trying to bring back 5,000 ants, including the coveted Mesocephalotes, I guess, or the giant African harvester ant, a chunky red species that someone out there would apparently pay to possess. The teens pleaded, I just want to say pled, but anyway, pleaded guilty to illegal possession and trafficking of ants, though they claimed they were just collecting the insects for fun. Kenyan officials weren't buying it, nor would they care about that reason. The country's wildlife service called it what it is, theft and trafficking. It's not just elephants and rhinos anymore these days. Eggs and cheese and all kinds of other stuff. Black marketed items getting sold. As if it wasn't obvious enough that these kids were not just collecting ants as a hobby. On the same day, in the same courtroom, 2 other guys were also charged with attempting to smuggle ants. Those 2 were caught with 400 ants in Nairobi.
They're relatively amateurs compared to these other 2 kids.
These teens are industrious little ants, just busy ants. I was going to say bees, but they're not smuggling bees. The teen ant thieves stashed the ants in over 2,000 test tubes padded with cotton to keep them alive for months for fun. Yeah. Is that right there? Why does that look like a giant olive?
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Maybe it's an apple. I don't know. But look at the conditions that they're doing this in. It's almost like an ant nest. If it wasn't for the fact that it looked like we already have a picture of the fact that it's ant vials, it looks like syringes. It looks...
Yeah, it does. It
really looks
odd.
like a meth lab, for crying out loud. Anyway, experts like... so if you're wondering what the going rate for illegally trafficking ants is, it's around 1 million Kenyan shillings or $7,700 US for the whole stash, which is $1 an ant. About. I'm rounding down.
Well, about 1 Kenyan shilling per ant.
No. They had 5,000 ants. So it's $7,700 US, the whole thing.
Gotcha. Okay.
It says not bad for something that usually ends up getting smashed beneath a flip-flop. Should it end up in my living room, is what the author says. Anyway, I don't know. The bad part about this is if a queen gets out, then it can wreck not just a local ecosystem, but everything.
Yeah. Plus, you start disrupting the food chain. It causes much bigger problems. Like suddenly you're having a problem with elephants or something because the ants are out of whack.
I don't think that they were selling, queens, but just regular ants.
Yeah,
I'm
but
not sure
did they
exactly
know what they were doing? I mean, they could have had queens.
Yeah, that's true. I guess they wouldn't necessarily know unless they did. But anyway, pretty wild. That's how they had it. I know that I store my hobby in little vials stuffed between.
I mean, that was more impressive than people that have had things like duct tape to them, but don't traffic animals or people or anything.
If you're going to smuggle ants and you want to show just how much of a badass you are, smuggle fire ants taped to your body, like that person with the frogs and other things.
Turtles or something, yeah.
Turtles.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's how you know that they're hardcore. Excuse me, are you in pain? Yes. Let's move on. Do you want to be the next CEO of Jack in the Box? I'm surprised that I hear about Jack in the Box because Jack in the Box isn't that big of a deal in most of the United States. But I think it's big on the West Coast.
Yeah, it's regional. Yeah.
But they are like hooked up somehow. You have to be really good at Fortnite. The fast food giant, it says, and Fortnite have a simple question. Do you have what it takes to be Jack in the Box's next CEO? The article is over at entrepreneur.com. David James put the article together. The San Diego-based burger chain Jack in the Box is going after the hearts, minds, and tummies of Gen Z gamers and those with boardroom dreams. It's teamed up with Epic Games to create Jack's CEO mini games, where players battle their way to corporate ranks to nab the ultimate prize, becoming CEO of Jack in the Box and nearly $2,000 worth of free food. That is not what the CEO gets paid.
I hope that, right. I mean, the CEO should be paid a salary too.
Yeah, I don't know about that part. They would have put that in the deck statement there. So, according to the official game release, players compete in 7 random mini games in a battle royale format. After each round, players get promoted to the next rank, intern, manager, director, VP, with the ultimate goal of reaching the final level, CEO status. You can download the Jack app, become a Jack Pack member, achieve the CEO title in the mini games, take a screenshot of your win, share your screenshot on the Jack in the Box Twitter account with the hashtag free Jack.
I mean, I guess if you're a real Jack in the Box fan, this gift card would really be worth it.
No, I just have to say that they're upping the ante. And see how I tied it to the last article?
That's right. It's not a complete non sequitur.
One player will win free Jack in the Box for a year in the form of a $1,825 Jack in the Box gift card. I don't know if I don't remember liking anything from Jack in the Box.
Wow.
What was what was the fish taco place that was by the Jack in the Box? Oh my gosh, what was it called?
Rubio's.
Rubio's. Oh, Rubio's. Rubio's is the kind of fast food joint that I would take a flight from one coast to the other to get. Anyway, let's keep moving. Next article is over in Non Sequitur News. These next two are actually tied together, so maybe I can make it kind of quick. Nintendo has some good news and some bad news for Switch 2 fans. Apparently, the Switch 2's price and pre-orders and all of that kind of stuff had been basically taken down. Nobody knew anything about the actual price at launch, and nobody was able to pre-order. Well, pre-orders are coming back, and the prices for the Switch 2 pre-orders themselves are going to remain the same. What's going to go up is everything else orbiting it. So,
right. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, Nintendo set a date for Switch 2 pre-orders in the US and apologized for a previous delay. The gaming giant isn't hiking the price of the game console for now, but it is increasing accessory prices. Nintendo said the higher prices are due to changes in market conditions. This article is over at Business Insider. Stephen Tweedy put the article together, which I don't remember seeing their name in the pool of Business Insider correspondence, but
No, I don't think we've had an
cool name
from town from that person.
You got a fun name. I was getting a drink today, and the person on the other side of the counter had just voluminous hair, like in two big balls, right? Like really tight curls and stuff like that, and it was just really big. And I'm like, I am so jealous. I love your hair. And they started talking to me about how it's really gorgeous, but it's a ton of work. And I said, I'll take it. Anyway. Never mind. Anyway, the good news, the company isn't raising the prices. It's Non Sequitur News.
Yeah, it's a non sequitur, all right.
So retail pre-orders for the Nintendo Switch 2 will begin on April 24th, 2025. At launch, the price for Nintendo Switch 2 will remain as they announced $449.99. And if you want Mario Kart World, which is supposed to be like this is the draw, you're going to pay $500. So that's going to stay the same, but market adjustments are going to be made for accessories. From those announced on April 2nd, due to these market conditions, they're all going to change. The company published a full pricing list, which you can view here. There is a link. We don't follow those links. You can follow them through ohmTown. Like I've been saying at the beginning of all of our shows, they're in the show notes over on YouTube. They're in Omatron over at Twitch. You can hit NSN, Non Sequitur News. YouTube doesn't like Omatron and kind of punts them out every time the show ends. So Omatron.
YouTube, could you play nice with Omatron?
No, I don't think that's going to work, but I try. So the much anticipated update arrives after Nintendo found itself in a tough spot. Same day that it announced pre-order pricing for the Switch 2. Liberation Day tariffs came in, and then more tariffs, and then they got suspended, and then they got back, and
tariffs upon tariffs upon tariffs.
It's a tariff turducken, a tariff duckin, an effing tariff duckin, and anyway, I'm trying to stack all of these. Whatever. So here is some salvation in this. You either sell your Switch, like on eBay or something like that, or you go to GameStop, should it continue to survive the economic turmoil that everybody is roiled in. GameStop will give you up to $175 for your old Switch when you pre-order a Switch 2. The Nintendo Switch 2 will cost you $449 or $500 with the other add-on. And it'll be available to pre-order in 6 days. The closest thing to a discount on the pricey console comes from GameStop, which is offering a trade-in credit for your old Switch to apply to a Switch 2 order. The offer starts on April 24th when GameStop stores open at their regular hours and at 11 a.m. for online orders and lasts through April 30th. I can't imagine. Go ahead.
Why do you think they're doing this? Are they going to sell the old refurbished ones?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, people are going to want to buy these.
Get all the sales of the new items through them.
I suspect that there's going to be a very narrow band for that 175 valuation because they're going to be swamped by people who don't want to pay $500 but are willing to pay half price.
Oh, yeah.
So even I'm looking at that like, oh, okay, yeah. I don't really like Nintendo. I just don't like the way that they treat content creators around that ecosystem. But anyway, it says you can redeem the trade-in credit on any new or existing Switch 2 pre-order done through GameStop. It says different Switch models will get you varying amounts of credit. I'm not even sure what that means. But the article is over at polygon.com. Cameron Faulkner put the article together. And the deck statement says, a way to save on Nintendo's new console. Yeah, sell your other Switch. You could actually probably get more via Amazon or some other selling platform. Right. Because when you sell it to somebody else, that profit margin isn't being reduced so that GameStop wants to make a profit. So instead of selling it for half price to somebody on the street.
Yeah, you might be able to sell it for more directly.
Yeah. And that happens with everything, but it's a big pain in the butt because you have to go somewhere and hand it to somebody and deal with, what do you want to call it? Biological contamination, because you have to walk through nature and actually interact with a human being, and who the hell wants to do that, right?
Grass.
Yeah. Oh, touch grass. Don't even want to see it. I mean, the only green that I see around here is the screen behind me. If you're a GameStop Pro member, you'll get an extra 10% added onto the Switch trade-in credit. So the Switch OLED will be $175. The standard Switch is $125. The Switch Lite is $100. So this is basically a quarter of the price of the...
Yep, and you'll have to trade in all the pieces with it, basically.
Yeah. And the better condition, the better. This, I think, is the max. This isn't exactly what you're going to get. Somebody's going to have to evaluate it, I'm sure. So in order to get the advertised trade-in valuations, GameStop shared with Polygon that you'll need to provide all of the following items. For the OLED and standard, you'll need the console, dock, working Joy-Con with wrist straps, Joy-Con grip, power cord, HDMI cable. The Switch Lite, they just want the console and the power cable. If you have it all, then it says your console may still be accepted at a lower value. I did a trade-in once to a company of which I will not be named, but I'll just say that they ship you the box and you put it in their box. So I put it in their box, packaged it the way they're supposed to be packaged with their box using their instructions. When they got it, it was bent. And they said that it was my fault.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Since then, my interaction with that company consists of me taking photos, almost like somebody being held as a hostage, right? You put a newspaper down, take a picture.
Right, exactly.
Video. Say your name. It flashes the serial number. Anyway. So there you have it, folks.
For a return.
Yeah. Hey, look, if you want to get all of your money, if you're going to get your $125 back, then you better show up with receipts. Speaking of receipts, I traded in a book when I was in school once, and I paid more than the person that returned the book. They got $15. I paid $150 for the book, which was $10 more than the price from the receipt from the previous owner.
Wow.
Because they left the receipts in the book. Like, they knew what they were doing. The person like traded in the book, but folded their receipts inside the book. So I knew exactly just how much I was getting juiced.
Nice. I'm not sure you always want to know that.
Right. You never go back and look at the sale price for something either. Oh, God. I really got squeezed there. So anyway, interesting articles today. Everything from cybersecurity breach to ants in my pants.
And you don't want that.
Yeah. And the Maine Mega Millions winner getting exposed, not because Maine, the way that it's written too, it's like you have to, because Maine is telling them that they have to be exposed. It's not like that.
Exactly. That's not it.
Yeah. You just got to be careful. That person didn't need to tell anybody that they won, right? Because even if they're in a relationship, because of
I think the problem was maybe not, or at least as we know it, was not the person, although they must have told the girlfriend.
The girlfriend, right. Yep. Like, what
But
I
we
would
don't
have
even
done
know
is...
that. She could have found out.
Well, yeah, because the person showed up with a freaking Ferrari.
Exactly.
They were driving
Or
some
said,
broken
I'm not
down
going
hoopty.
to work anymore, or whatever.
Yeah, I've retired. You're 18. Yeah. I'm working for a new agency. Anyway, the show is done. Thanks for hanging out. If you're over on YouTube, thanks. And if you're over on Twitch, thanks. We are going to shut down for the night. And I'm gonna upload everything and rejigger this for the replay. We do a replay every day that consists of the previous 14 days worth of shows, including 2 weekends. And so we do 3 shows on Saturday and 3 shows on Sunday, equating to our 6 weekly shows. And then we have a daily show, which is this show, Monday through Friday, Non Sequitur News. So stick around, watch all of the replay. Be sure to follow us on Twitch and on YouTube and download the podcast. And there's a Discord. I am hoping that I'm going to be able to slide into Patreon's live broadcasting, because all I have to do is add one little line item and I'll be able to start streaming there as well. But I don't know. Having over 2,100 episodes of the show may not be sufficient to identify me as a content creator because, well, it's a test. So they want to give it to the really big people with millions of followers and stuff like that.
Right.
So I go over there and follow us, and it doesn't cost anything. It's just another place for us to distribute news. But I haven't really been distributing. Anyway, I'm going to leave. And I'm going to take the AI with me. Take that, everybody. See you later. Oh, wait, I'm going to trade in this page for this page, which is the front page of hometown.com. The sentient AI is just really, really upset with me right now. Like, oh, God. We were talking about dumpster fires at the beginning of the show.
No, you're just demonstrating.
I might be one. Earlier today, I spent 15 minutes trying to figure out why that shadow right there, which not everybody can see apparently, but that little shadow right there, I could not resolve by fixing other stuff and rearranging stuff in the background. Well, it's because my drink was just 1 inch too close. All right. Anyway, we're out of here and I'm taking the AI with me. You want to say bye?
I am Tom Citizens. Thanks for joining us for today's Non Sequitur News. Be back tomorrow for Weekend Edition.
You done?
Yes, I am.
I didn't step on your line at all. I didn't trample on anything you said.
I mean, my goodness.